Bad salt is kind of like a bad church. It gets watered down, and the world doesn't respect a watered down, weak religion. And it becomes subject to ridicule and it being ignored, trampled underfoot. So the question is, we're salt. What kind of salt are we going to be? What kind of difference are we going to make? We cannot change who we are, but we can waste who we are. Every Christian needs to understand that when we lose our saltiness, we become, and this is Jesus' words, good for nothing. Good for nothing, and we lose our usefulness. And when that happens, we are treated by a world with contempt. Even though the world may not like an on-fire believer who stands up for what they believe and stands for the name of Christ, and they may be persecuted for that, there is at least a respect for that kind of belief system. But the world will react against it, and persecution will happen, but they won't disrespect them. In Hunan, China, the church leaders years ago were lined up against the wall. They lined up pastors and church leaders, and they said, deny Christ, accept atheism, and you can keep your life. They were given an invitation to no longer be a part of the underground church, but to move over to what's called the Three-Self Church. And the Three-Self Church, all you have to do is no longer teach the virgin birth or the resurrection or life after death. He said, if you don't make that decision, then you will die. In the Three-Self Church, the pastor becomes a member of the Communist Party. And to become a member of the Communist Party, you have to declare yourself an atheist. Well, many of these refused to do that, and they were killed. But the one who told this story said that they won more with their death than the others won with their life. They won more to Christ with their death, standing up for Christ, than the others did for falling. So do we want what's happening in China, millions of converts every year, do we want something like that in America? Most everybody in any church would say, yeah, we'd love to see America. America needs revival. Well, what would it be worth to you? What if it cost you your job? What if you lost your home? What if you went to prison over it? What if you had to live in abject poverty or meet in secret, be beaten, or maybe killed if caught? Would you do that for millions of souls? Maybe that's why it's happening elsewhere. Would we do that? Because that seems to be the price. Because where it's happening, that is happening. You know, when things begin to decay, they fall apart. When a body starts to decay after death, the cell structure starts to fall apart and it starts to decompose. We look at our culture today and it's decomposing. Marriages, families, law and order, so just the basic institutions of life are on this extinction list. One by one, we're seeing more and more getting extinct. You know, again, Ravi Zacharias spoke at Wheaton College, and he spoke about religions around the world. And he said, there is a movement right now in the traditions of these religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, and he went through others. All of them are moving back toward their traditional beliefs and protecting them. The only one that doesn't is Christianity in the West, who is jettisoning their belief system. And he said they're not only allowing, they brought it to the extremity of ridicule, where they even take the key personages of their religion and move them into the category of profanity. That the name Jesus Christ and God are now common profanity. Try that in Islam. And yet it's a natural thing now. It's extreme distancing. And sometimes spoilage can become so bad. You know, you go on vacation, you come back, and the milk is spoiled. It's like, whoa, let's get rid of this. But sometimes things are so spoiled, you can't get near it. You have to totally avoid it. When we look at our culture today, and you look at things that it's hard to even get near. It's hard to get near a comedian anymore. It's hard to get near a lot of the music and the television and the movies. Look at education and politics today in such a state of decay. It's hard to get close without picking up the stench and getting caught up in the ugliness of it all. I mean, that's how we look at it. Just imagine how it affects him. That we have allowed our saltlessness on our watch to bring such a state of decay. You know, recent presidents, and this probably get me in trouble, kicked off YouTube or something. They all had this idea, we're going to take China and we're going to treat them in a certain way, and we are going to let them experience capitalism and freedoms, and when they see all the benefits of it, they're going to come to our side. So we're going to just make all these opportunities for them to really thrive under capitalism, trade deals and all these things. We sold them the rope so they could sell it back to us. Now they want to hang us with it. Just ask Hong Kong how that's worked out. Churches have embraced in that same time period, churches have embraced the same hope that the world will see their value and come to them if they just try to be relevant. Now they're ridiculed. There's hatred. During one of the worst humanitarian situations of our lifetime, the church is now considered, when all of this horrible things are happening, non-essential. When we should be the most essential. The world over the last 20 years has lost respect, and now we're trodden under. Suicides are at record numbers. But again, the church is considered non-essential. And yet Satan's trap. Satan says, you want a crowd? I'll send you people hand over foot. But those people aren't going to care about sin. They're not going to care about the cross. They're not going to care about the blood of Christ. They're not going to want to hear you talk about guilt or hell. But I'll send you some. It'll be a warm body. They might throw something in as a contribution. Some have opted for that. You know, I think that we want a church that is not bland, that is not boring, because our spiritual lives are. We want to compensate, something to compensate for what we are not experiencing. Because when a person gets a dynamic, exciting spiritual life going, they will not settle for anything less than that with regard to the things of God. And they won't compensate by trying to make it happen in a supposed church setting. The problem is we got bland and boring lives, and we want to go somewhere and make ourselves convinced that they're not that.